everybody, it's me, Duplos Kids, back with another video for all of you. Before I say anything else, sorry I haven't posted since last month. It's a mixture of I got extremely lazy and extremely busy. So I'm very sorry I haven't been able to post, but don't worry, I'm going to get to a schedule where I can post more, and there'll be a lot of videos coming out this week to make up for my absence. Anyway, today's video is not only going to be a top 10, but a remaster of one of my old top 10s. My top 10 favorite weapons in pop culture. The rules will be the same as last time. Only 3 weapons per franchise, so I don't have an assortment of every single weapon from a specific universe. For the second rule, the weapon has to be wielded by somebody in pop culture, so I can't just say a longsword. I would have to say the Rebellion from Devil May Cry. One more thing before we get into the video, don't forget to do what every single YouTuber has ever said to do their YouTube video. I'm not going to repeat what 1,000 YouTubers have already said. And with all that being said, let's get right into the video. Number 10.
This ain't a vacation. It's fucking paradise.
The Flamethrower Gauntlet from Evolve. Alright, here's a light explanation of what Evolve is. Evolve is a multiplayer game where there's hunters and monsters, and you play as hunters and monsters, and it's that whole thing. I'm not going too in-depth, except on the character and this weapon. The character that wields this weapon is named Hyde. Hyde is a complete and utter psychopath that likes to melt faces, and he does that with this thing. His Flamethrower Gauntlet. And as for the weapon, can't get any more obvious. It's a goddamn gauntlet with a flamethrower in it. Literally, that's it. It's a flamethrower in a metal glove. It's not rocket science. Now, the main problem with this weapon is how much fuel it takes. I mean, just look at Hyde's design. Look at the tanks on his back. That's ammo for the flamethrower. Jesus, that's a lot. And I'm sure that's not light. But other than that, this is a very useful weapon. It counts as a flamethrower, but also it's a metal gauntlet on your fist. I'm sure it doesn't feel too good to get hit physically by that. Imagine somebody cocking back with this thing on and hitting you full force square in the face. I'm sure that shit ain't gonna feel too good. Pairing with the fact that, it's a flamethrower, and it shoots fire, and fire will burn the hell out of you. Basically, this is a multi-purposeful weapon. It's very good at mid to close range, and very good at physical hitting, I'm assuming. But it's not as cool as some of the other weapons on this list. That's why it's number 10. I love it, but it's not the coolest weapon on this list. Number 9. The Ryuichi from Overwatch. I believe at least that's how you pronounce the name. It's Genji's sword. It's Genji's long sword. And don't you dare take that sentence out of context, you f***ing animals. And the reason why it's on this list is a very simple reason. It's a goddamn cyber katana, of course it's on this list. Now, whether I can use the spirit dragon is iffy, but the sword itself is just cool. It's a very cool weapon that is very efficient. And honestly, this would be a really cool sword to have. I mean, look at it! And plus, it can cut through steel like paper. I think it's a really good sword! But again, that really is the only reason why it's on this list, is because of the fact it's a cyber katana. Other than that, it's just a sword. A really cool looking sword, but still just a sword. That's why it's number 9. Number 8.
Hey, can I try that? I like this thing.
The Bowcaster from Star Wars. We got the first returning weapon from my last video. Last time this was 3rd, now it's 8th. What happened? Well, 2 things really. First off, at that time I was really into Star Wars at the time, so I was really obsessed with specifically Star Wars weapons. Right now I'm kind of indifferent, so it makes sense that I put this a lot lower. Also, last time I didn't really have that many weapons I truly loved. This time I have all kinds of weapons that I absolutely adore. So the Bowcaster is still cool. It's still a laser crossbow with explosive fire. That is still absolutely epic. Excluding that, it's a pretty average weapon. A really cool average weapon, but just an average weapon compared to the other weapons on this list. That's why it is now number 8. It's cool, but not as cool as the other weapons on this list. Number 7.
About time.
Mjolnir from God of War. Ragnarok! If the Leviathan axe makes Stormbreaker look like a toothpick, then Ragnarok Mjolnir makes Marvel Mjolnir look like a squeaky hammer. What can I say about this hammer that isn't obvious? It's way cooler than any version of Mjolnir I've ever seen, bro. Just look at the design on it! Like, have you ever seen a Mjolnir with this much detail? And plus, Ragnarok Mjolnir is a lot like Marvel Mjolnir, except a lot better. It's never stated flat out, but I'm fairly sure this version of Mjolnir gives Thor his electric abilities. And I'm just going to assume that. Also, worthiness has nothing to do with this hammer, cause trust me, if it did, Thor could not wield this fucking hammer. The only reason why it's hard to use Mjolnir is because of its actual weight. And that's very accurate to the actual mythology. The only thing that's different is that to call the hammer back, Thor has to snap his fingers. Which isn't practical, but god, it adds so much flair to calling the hammer back. Also, you can still fly with it. You can still just flat out fly using Mjolnir. But this version of Mjolnir is the coolest version of Mjolnir. Hands down. That's why it's number 7. Number 6.
No! You are not ready! Stay back!
The Leviathan Axe from God of War. Last time this was number 4. Again, what happened? At the time, I was playing a lot of God of War 2018, so again, I was pretty obsessed with God of War, that's why the weapon was so high. Everything I said still stands. It's way better than Stormbreaker, it's a lot cooler looking than Stormbreaker, and it's just a really cool looking axe in general, and plus it's an ice axe. But my opinions changed quite a bit. So, this is a great weapon still, but it's just not one of my major favorites anymore. That's why it's number 6. Number 5. Incursio from Akame ga Kill. Hey, for once, something's in the exact same place as it was in my last list. If you don't know what Incursio is a magic sword that when you call out its name, it turns into a suit of armor, and the suit of armor comes with a spear, effectively making it 2 weapons and a suit of armor in 1 weapon. But there's nothing special about the spear, it's just a normal spear, unlike the sword that is a, well, magic sword that makes a suit of armor and a spear. The reason why it's number 5 is, first off, it's just genuinely my favorite weapon in anime in general. But by far, it is the most useful weapon on this entire list, because it's a suit of armor and 2 separate weapons in 1 weapon. And the only reason why this is number 5 and not even close to number 2 or 1 is because the other weapons I have above this I just like a lot more. But yeah, that's why it's number 5. It's not only one of, if not one of the best weapons in fiction simply because of the fact it's an armor set and 2 separate weapons in 1 weapon, but it's just genuinely my favorite weapon in anime. But there are cooler weapons. Number 4. The Crucible Blade from Doom Eternal. Do I really need to explain why a laser sword with scripture on it that is made to kill the demons in hell is cool? Like, do I really need to? Also, if you don't know what the Crucible Blade is, it's an energy-based longsword that has scripture on it and is made to kill the demons in hell. But yeah, do I seriously need to explain this one? It's a laser longsword that is literally meant to kill demons. That is fucking awesome! Yeah, nothing more needs to be said about this sword. That's why it's number 4. It's just awesome! Number 3.
And another.
The Crossguard Lightsaber from Star Wars. Just like every other returning weapon on this list, this one moves lower, going from being number 2 to number 3. And the only reason why that's the case is because I have a new favorite weapon. Other than that, everything's still the same. I love how it's a medieval-like sword, except it's a lightsaber, obviously. Also, I love how aggressive this lightsaber is, just in general combat. And for me personally, it's the coolest lightsaber design, and it wouldn't be a weapons list in pop culture if I didn't mention a lightsaber. So yeah, that's why it's number 3. It's just I have a new favorite. Other than that, everything hails true from last time. Number 2. The Blades of Chaos from the God of War trilogy. Again, moving a step lower from being number 1 to now being number 2. Though everything I said still stands from last time. These are still one of the coolest weapons in pop culture. And also, if you somehow don't know what the Blades of Chaos are, they're chain whips with blades on them that can set people on fire. And other than that, that's really it. That's why it's number 2. It's still one of the coolest weapons in pop culture. It's just not my all-time favorite anymore. And before we get to number 1, here's a few honorable mentions. The M41 Spanker from Halo. Well, I had to include a weapon from Halo. Might as well make it the thing called the M41 Spanker! If you can't tell, it's a rocket launcher. It shoots rockets. It's a basic rocket launcher. The only reason why I'm making it an honorable mention is because 1, it's a Halo weapon, I wanted a Halo weapon here. And 2, because it's called the M41 Spanker. I think you can see why I like this weapon. The Claws of Hades from God of War 3. It's a lot lamer looking than the Blades of Chaos, but it has a way cooler power than the blades. Instead of lighting people on fire, the Claws of Hades steal people's souls. And then you can use those souls to help you in fights. That is awesome as hell. Again, not my favorite blades because their design is kind of weird. I don't like how there's 2 sides of the blade, but the fact that they steal souls make it at least worth a mention. And finally, the Omnitrix from Ben 10. If you don't know what the Omnitrix is at this point, have you just joined this channel? You know, it's not like I haven't made, 11 videos on this one franchise. If you don't know what the Omnitrix is, somehow, it's a watch that can turn you into aliens. Flat out. The only reason why it's not on this list is because technically it's not a weapon. The Omnitrix's original purpose was just to repopulate planets if the species went extinct. It was never meant to be a weapon, but because Ben is a human, of course he found a way to make it into a weapon. Just like how modern TikTokers have found a way to make a honey bun a weapon. But the Omnitrix at least deserves a mention because Ben uses it as a weapon, even though it's not a weapon. And with honorable mentions out of the way, let's get to number 1. The Super Shotgun from Doom Eternal specifically. In the last video like this, I put a 12 gauge shotgun as an honorable mention, and even mentioned Doom Guy. At this time, I didn't know the Super Shotgun existed, which is a double barrel shotgun with a grappling hook on it! Something you will learn about me very fast. My favorite gun in anything are shotguns. So having a goddamn double barrel shotgun with a fucking grappling hook is awesome to me! When I started playing Doom Eternal and I got this weapon, I fell in love immediately. The Super Shotgun is my new favorite weapon in all of pop culture, simply because of the fact it is a double-barrel shotgun with a grappling hook on it that allows you to swing around like a addicted Spider-Man! The Super Shotgun is easily the best weapon in pop culture simply because of that fact, that it is a double-barrel shotgun with, I repeat, for the 4th time, a grappling hook! And if you don't think that's cool, go live your normal life while I enjoy my autism! And that is why the Super Shotgun is number 1. Because it's just a funny gun. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to do what every single YouTuber has ever said to do their YouTube video. I'm not going to repeat what 1,000 YouTubers have already said. Also, let me know what your favorite weapons in pop culture are. I always love to see different opinions than mine. Speaking of that, just comment, because I'm going to be doing a video where I'm just going to be reading comments and reacting to them. It could be anything from a post meme to an actual question. It can be any kind of comment. I'll probably still put it in, as long as it's not incredibly horny. That's the one type of comment I will not do. I am not attracting the simps again. F that. But, with all that being said, I'll catch you dudes and dudettes in the next video. Goodbye! Like the video, or your house is gonna get swatted by a bunch of clone troopers with super shotguns.
I can't find him! I can't find him!
I will fly to Texas and kill you.
I can't find him!
I can't leave them alone. I swear to no.